Do I sound all right? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I left my normal headphones at work, so I'm using a different set. I have no idea what the microphone sounds like on this pair.
Doesn't sound too bad. I can understand you. Oh, where's my list?
Welcome to this episode of Screen Bytes, where we discuss video games, technology, TV, and movies. In this episode, we're tier listing the James Bond gun barrel scenes.
So, Josh, I for some reason decided it would be a good idea to put in a tier list of all the James Bond gun barrel.
Yeah.
And
what do you want to do that for?
I honestly don't know. I think I was watching one of the James Bonds. Recently, and I kind of got inspired to do like a list. I think it's because maybe I watched one of the James Bonds and I might have like watched like a review of it on YouTube, and then YouTube recognizes that you've watched James Bond, and then it starts recommending a load of James Bond videos, and then you're like,
yeah,
go down the rabbit hole, and you're like, oh well, back in that rabbit hole again, I suppose. But I have made a list, so I've gone through it and I kind of like numbered them, but then I've also put like S, A, B, and C.
You've already tier listed the things. I thought we were going to chat about it first.
Well, yeah, you can. I just know them now because there is a lot of them, isn't there? There is. I've written them all down on a bit of paper, and I've like run out of room on the paper, nearly like writing just notes on, because I kind of wanted to remember the ones like. So, the first one on the list is Dr. No, and I've put that as I've wrote a note of slow, and I've put it as C. If there is a C category.
Why did you put it as C?
Because for me it's so slow.
Slow?
Well, okay, I'll tell you what. As it's like the first, you could give it a B, as it's unique, and as it's the first James Bond. Like, yeah, I just found it like it was just he kind of like tiptoed it like into it. It was just so slow. Like the first few Sean Connery movies, his gun barrels were very slow.
Okay, so you putting it as you put it as a C.
No, I'll put it as a B.
You put it as a B
because it's the first one, yeah.
As it's the first one. Okay. D.
You get it less.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think it's slow as well then?
I don't just think it's slow. I don't even know if I think it's slow per se. But it's not Sean Connery. It's not Sean Connery.
It's not.
It's not. It's a guy called Bob Simmons. So I've actually I watched a video earlier today, and it had the actors in all of the gun barrel scenes, and obviously a lot of the gun barrel scenes were reused. So we're not going to talk about 23 gun barrels here. We're going to talk about 7 or 8 maybe. And for the first 3 films, it was this one by Bob Simmons, and I don't know what the story is, and I think I have kind of heard the story, and it was just something that they kind of come up with ages after they had finished filming and were probably finished editing the film, and they just thought they needed something to start the film. And the thing is, it's like, if you go back and rewatch it, and you know it's not Sean Connery, it's so obviously not Sean Connery.
I never knew, to be honest.
It's also not a silhouette either. Like, if it was a abstract silhouette a bit, then you could kind of maybe understand it a bit better. But it's not Sean Connery. It is James Bond. Like, I will say, it is James Bond, and I think it looks like what many people may have imagined James Bond to look like from reading the books. But it's not Sean Connery. It's a very weird gun barrel opening. Jen said she thought he'd tripped over, but I think he was just doing a half step to just before the jump. But because of the way the gun barrel was on him, it's like not quite so obvious. So yeah, I hate to say it because it's the first one, and we're talking about filming in the 1960s, and it started off something incredibly iconic. But I don't think it was all that good.
No. All right. Well, okay then. That being said, then can I change it back to a C? Because you were making me feel bad. Like, you put it, you think it was slow? I was like, yeah, it's it's quite slow. Like you said,
I suppose the reason you might think it was slow, particularly for Dr. No, is that the music's quite different. It's I don't think it's the same type of music that's used in the rest of them. It's something more unique to Dr. No. I think it's a bit similar to the theme song, because Dr. No didn't have a unique theme or title or anything like that. compared to some of the later ones, it was just something a bit more generic. If I'm not quite right with what I've just said, but there's something about Dr. No and maybe Goldfinger. It wasn't till the third or fourth film that they got big songs written for it, for James Bond, before it was super popular. So, and I think the gun barrel scene is something quite similar, where it was just something done.
Okay, so C for Dr. No. From Russia with Love. I've also gone with.
It's the same one.
I've gone with C.
It's the same sequence.
I've gone with C as well for that. Because yeah, it's literally the same. I think there is a slight difference in the music, but still, it's
well, yes,
it's still the same. It's still the same. Unfortunately, it's a bit slow.
Yes, broadly speaking, it's the same. It's the exact same footage, and I was wondering, and I don't think it became too much of a thing. I was wondering if any of the gun barrel scenes would be elevated by how the opening scene starts. So some of them, quite often it's just the gun barrel goes down to the corner and then it kind of reopens up into whatever the first scene is. And then one or two or three of them actually use the gun barrel to kind of actively start the first scene. Whereas Dr. No just seems to... It's just starting a transition. There's nothing too special about it. But it didn't seem to play too much into it. So I didn't actually end up writing any notes in particular. So I've just organised the gun barrels basically by actor of who did the gun barrel scene, as opposed to by every single film. But if I saw that an actor used a slightly different variant, then I did kind of note that down.
Yeah. Well, the next one. So what have you got for that? From Russia with
It's
Love?
the exact same thing. So C.
Okay. So next one is Goldfinger, and I've also gone with C because it's the exact same. It's slow. It might be a slight change in music, but it doesn't really make any difference in my opinion. It's literally the same. So yeah, C for me. What is it for you?
Yeah, like I said, I've organised it by the way I've grouped it. It'll be a C.
Thunderball. Now this is the one where I noted down walking. My note was walking. So that was the first one where I noticed he's actually walking across the screen, and the music is a little bit better, and he's putting his arm backwards as well.
This is actually Sean Connery in this one.
Yeah, this is Sean Connery,
and he does that thing where he like his one is he's almost ducking down and then throwing his left arm back behind him like he's skiing or something. So he's definitely putting his entire body into it. For Sean Connery's barrel gun, I didn't particularly like it.
I gave it a B because I felt it was a lot better than the previous.
Yeah, this is one of the things, I'm just trying to think of where I'm going to place everything else.
Well, the thing is, you can have multiple Bs, you could have multiple As, you could have multiple Cs.
I know you can do that with a tier list, but I'm just trying to think of what I think about this versus others. And I know, like, I don't want to be, Sean Connery's the best James Bond, or Sean Connery's not my James Bond, or whatever. I wasn't a fan of it. I'm going to put it down as a C for me.
Okay. The next one,
it was just too much.
I don't know why, but the next one I put, you only live twice. I put that down as an A, but not. Okay, that's not like an S tier. That's like a below S tier. So I would mark this as an A, as pretty good. You only live twice. What about you?
I'm still putting that down as C.
I think it was the best. It's one of the best Sean Connery ones so far. So I gave it an A, as it's a marked improvement over the previous ones. The music, the style.
The music makes that much of a change to you?
Yeah, and also they do like slight colouring changes, like the backgrounds and stuff. It's obviously the same. It's the same footage, but they make it out like it's new. I mean, like also the actual blood when they get shot as well. Sometimes that's a bit different.
Yeah, I was
side
thinking
bits.
about stuff like that. So it's like what you've got there is that they've probably redone what they can redo. So obviously, like they've shot the scene with Sean Connery doing the actual thing. That like maybe they've scanned in at a lower res, and then they've got higher resolution scanners for the later films. So they've like rescanned it in, so it's high quality. They've redone the bloodshot. They've redone the gun barrel scene itself as technology comes in. Because even Jen said, like the first one, it looks so janky. The first one with from Doctor No, it looks so janky because that's just a technology they had in 1962. So as technology is improving, they're doing it more and more and more. Some of that I did pick up on some of it. I didn't notice it with Sean Connery's. It was more later on.
Yeah, with Roger Moore.
I think Pierce Brosnan's.
And Pierce Brosnan's, yeah.
No, Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig had some notable changes between them. But anyway, let's wait till we get there.
So what would you give You Only Live Twice?
See, like I said, you're not going to get much. Like all of Roger Moore's are going to get the same letter for me.
Well, there is a slight difference. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. So the next one is Her Majesty's Secret Service. And I know...
Yeah, this one was a bit...
I know down there was a long pause. A very long pause. And it wasn't like... It wasn't... I forgot his name now. The bloke who played Bond on the Australian bloke, wasn't it?
I know. I can't remember either. I in my notes, it says Aussie guy. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, it's bad. Anyway, but there's a pause before the actual sequence happens, and it's like a good second pause, and it's just like takes you out of it completely. So yeah, I marked it. I think I would say what did I put? I put it as a C. What about you?
Right. I'm going to quickly rewatch this one.
Okay. Take a note of the long pause. See if you can see it.
No, I didn't notice the long pause. Where's the long pause?
Just before he comes out, there's like you got the like credit bit, and it just hangs there for like a second, and then he comes out, and it just for me that just like that took me out of it completely.
Oh,
it
what?
Like
so when it goes from Albert Broccoli to transitioning to starting that so you're even including that bit of the of the gun barrel scenes.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's part of it. Isn't it?
Yes, but I think that's because it's all timed with the music.
Yeah. So it
but the actual gunshot is timed with the music, so everything, the gap beforehand has to be there.
Yeah, and that's to me that's off-putting. It just took me out of it. I think they could have done a little bit better. And don't say they can't do that because there was no long pause in other ones.
But also the long pause is there so that you can see the credits. It's very important for you to see the credits. I'm not defending it, but I think that is not a reason that I expected to hear tonight. That's all. It surprised me.
What do you think then? What was A, S, A, B, C, or D? If you're talking,
I mean, it is a bit.
There you go.
It's a bit, sorry. I'm just trying. It's trying. I know it's a tier list and multiple things can go in different places, but it's hard to try and. It's a very much of a meh.
Well, meh for me. Meh is C.
Yeah.
C is like average. It's okay. It's like it doesn't. There are some in here that are like worthy of D, in my opinion. This one is just in the middle. It's like it's not good, but it's not bad. So for me that's a C.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking. There's nothing to write home with it as such, and yeah.
Also, I remember. I think I did write this as well. The way he just basically he mimics Sean Connery's throwing of the arm as well backwards, and it looks kind of sloppy and just. Like, not really...
Yes, you're right. So let's say that's a D, because it's a copy, but it's not even done well.
Yeah.
So I don't like Sean Connery's holding up his arm up. I don't think it's particular... Like, I can see where it's coming from. Like, he's ducking down, he's balancing and everything. But, yeah, I didn't love it. George Lazenby, that's the one. George Lazenby, like you say, he kind of throws it back, and he's kind of just, like, loose. There's nothing... Like, he's not in control of it as such.
It's floppy.
Yeah. Okay, I'm dropping that down to D.
Oh, okay, D. Oh, okay. Fair enough. I mark it as a C because it's still... At least he's not tiptoeing. He's still walking, and he's walking at a reasonable pace, let's say, as well. So the next one after that is... What is the next one after that?
Should be Diamonds Are Forever.
Have we missed a few?
No.
Diamonds Are Forever, sorry. You are correct.
Yeah.
So Diamonds Are Forever, I've marked it as a B. It's not the best Sean Connery gun barrel, because I think You Only Live Twice is A. So, yeah, it's okay. And if we're also counting in the lead into the scene, it leads into some... you have like a Chinese... he goes to like a Chinese place, doesn't he? And the music is like... It has like a Chinese kind of theme near the end that leads into the scene, so that kind of works well. So I've marked that down as a B.
So You Only Live Twice, you mark that as an A. I think the audio cut out for me. Why did you mark that as an A?
Oh, okay.
What's your reason?
I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed him actually walking at a normal pace. And the actual, like you said earlier, it kind of looked a little bit more detail, and the blood.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So one thing that would raise that one for me, You Only Live Twice, is that it...
You put it as a B.
I didn't put it as a B. I put all of Sean Connery's down as a C. But the only reason that would move it up for me is... stop telling me what I put when I haven't put it.
All right.
But the only thing that might raise it up for me is the transition from the gun barrel to the opening scene with the space, with the satellite in the center. So it's gone to meet the satellite, which is the focus. With your Chinese one, it's not the same. Like
yeah, it's not as good.
It's not a focus on a particular thing. It's just a random section of a wall. So it supports your order in terms of one being an A and one being a B or a C or whatever. And that's something that I was kind of trying to look for is the gun barrel used as just a random focus, or is there a particular focus, something in the frame that's been focused on and brought out? So they've done that in You Only Live Twice, but they didn't do that. Sorry, they didn't do that in You Only Live Twice, but they did do it in... Oh, I'm getting my films mixed up. But they've done it in one and not the other. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah. Well, my point is, it is a bit... Like you said, it is a bit bland in Diamonds Are Forever. It's just going into a wall. But the actual music it kind of leads into kind of gives you the vibe of where they are. So where he's set. So he's set in some sort of place and he's beating up some man. Trying to find the man with the skull on his face. I forgot his name. But yeah. But yeah, the music kind of leads into that scene. It has like Chinese kind of Asian music. So in my sense, yeah, it's not worthy of a C because of that little transition. So I think it is a B. What do you think? Yeah, so take note right at the end, it kind of just it's like light music that leads into the Chinese Asian kind of setting that it's trying to play. You said he was going to give everything Sean Connery a C, so...
Oh, what, it just comes in with that flute?
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
That's not elevating it for me, no. No, that's staying at a C for
okay,
me.
so it's a C then, yeah? Okay, that's fine. But it's the second best for me, and it's probably just a C for you, like average. Okay, so the next film is Live and Let Die. And...
So this is Roger Moore?
This is Roger Moore. And I marked it as an A.
Why so?
The music, his outfit he's got on is when you it's kind of one of those things where you watch it and you know exactly when this period is set. And also I also like the fact that he shoots the gun away from himself. It's kind of like to the side, and it kind of like he moves his arm like quickly to the side and he shoots. So in that sense, I gave it an A. I just felt he was quite deadly, like just him coming across. We can see him, it's set in the 70s. It's got the 70s kind of music, and then bang. So I've obviously, like we've been saying, there is going to be like, it's like the same, but like with different music. So in this sense, I felt that this is probably the best version of the others. Because we know that Roger Moore, there's going to be a few more kind of the same gun barrel scene. Them using the same footage of Roger Moore. So I felt this was the best version of that.
Oh dear.
Really? Oh dear. Oh god. Oh no.
Because I think Roger Moore's gun barrel is probably one of the worst.
I know. I think there's two versions of it. So there's the one I'm talking about now is where he moves the gun, he's pointing to the side. And then the later ones is him just gripping the gun with 2 hands and shooting. That is the worst.
Oh, hang on. Right, because that's not the one I've just watched for this film.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The version,
Live and Let Die?
The version of Live and Let Die that I've just watched is the one that you've just described, and I think that one is terrible. It's sloppy.
What, the one?
Where he
holding
where
it
he
with
grips
both
it
hands?
with both hands. He's gripping it with both hands. It's sloppy. Have a look at that link I sent you on WhatsApp, and have a look at Live and Let Die, and it leads into the right film. So it might be that different versions of maybe the DVD release
No,
is different to the VHS or something.
No. I must have got. Maybe I got confused. Let me just see if he's holding the 2 hands. I'll put it on mute very quickly. Yeah, no, he's not. Okay, I'm a little bit wrong. He's got his right arm on his left. No, he's got his left arm on his right arm. So he's not holding the gun with both hands.
He swings around and then grabs it.
He's swinging his arm. He's grabbing his arm.
Yeah,
that's the one. This is the one I'm on about. This is the best one for Roger Moore.
No, I didn't like it.
Okay.
Didn't like it. Why is he grabbing his arm?
Because he's stopping. He's swinging his arm round and he's stopping his arm to get. It's like bang.
But that's not good shooting.
Look at him. He's got the 70s suit on. So for me, I would mark that down as an A because it tells you exactly what you need to know about this film. You're no longer in the 60s. You're in the 70s. I don't know if that's like something to say. Oh, you can't really get critique like it's not a bonus because it just tells you when the film was made. But it's the style of clothing he's wearing. It gives you the vibes. It's like, oh, it's a 70s film. And sometimes it is interesting because, James Bond has been going on for like 50, 60 years now. And every film you watch, in some ways they're wearing different outfits where they have to like update their suits and stuff. And this is one of the cases where it's no longer like it's more fashionable. Like they're trying to be like get James Bond in a fashionable suit to where it's like, oh, this is the 70s now. You got to wear this kind of suit and trousers. So I give it an A because I think it's the best one out of the Roger Moore ones, in my opinion. What do you give it?
Okay, the things I liked about it
Yeah.
are the way it led into the opening scene.
Yes.
So it focuses on New York City, and I know that's a bit bland, a little bit like The Wall, but actually they're focused.
That's what I mean. Exactly 70s.
But they're focused on a particular skyscraper in New York City, not for any particular reason, I'm guessing. Because is this the one where he starts in the helicopter thing with Blofeld and he gets chased around a bit?
No,
I don't really know.
That's late. No, this
No,
is.
living.
That's
gonna be later on.
He goes in a city. He's in a city. He just goes to some. It seems like some junk house, and he gets like beaten up, and he meets up, and then in the end, it's like some FBI guy he meets up with, probably Phoenix.
Yeah, it just felt like the transition was more focused on something rather than nothing. But like I said, like it was a sloppy. I think that arm grab is sloppy.
It's a lot better than the one he did later, in my opinion.
I've looked at his Moonraker one, and I can't see any difference between the two of them.
No, you're not going to see a difference. If you look at probably something like Octopussy, you'll see a difference. Definitely. And the last one, what's the last one called? I forgot now. The one with Christopher Walken. A View to a Kill.
Okay, right. They are very similar, but they are slightly different. So it looks like in Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
In Live and Let Die, he's grabbing his arm, and I don't think that's what... I don't know anything about shooting, but I don't think that's what you would do.
No.
I think it's from Live and Let Die, literally from that book where James Bond is having his Beretta removed from him. He loved the Beretta, but it's taken away from him. He's told it's a woman's gun, but it jammed on him at the end of From Russia with Love, and it nearly cost him his life. We're talking the books, not the films here. But
yeah.
So he was his Beretta was cast aside, and then he was given his other gun, which I can't remember what it is, but it's actually what he's more well known for in the film for. And I remember when that whole exchange was happening, James Bond was talking about how the gun isn't separate from the body. It's just an extension of your hand. So I don't see James Bond doing that kind of darting around and firing, like hip firing, he doesn't need two hands to do that, because that would actually make him way less accurate with his shot, and he's more likely to miss. He's going to do that with one hand, a bit like Sean Connery's doing. But by getting that left hand in, I mean, okay, it looks iconic, but it doesn't fit with that whole... I mean, especially thinking about the next one of the films coming up, The Man with a Golden Gun, they're not sharpshooters. They're kind of like shooting each other at point blank range from, with instinct and everything like that. And the way he's grabbing his arm or bringing his left arm in, it just doesn't sit well with that whole view of James Bond just being able to fire instinctively and hit what he needs to without really having to think. But I might be thinking into it a little bit too much there.
Yeah, and so he's saying, like, it seems like it's a snap reaction where he's not thinking, he's just like, bang! And it could end up anywhere. So in that sense, you are right.
I can't give that more than a C. I wonder if that might be my D.
Oh, it makes me feel bad now.
Yeah, good.
Maybe I should mark it down as a B.
No, that's what I'm saying. We can have our own lists.
Yeah, but I'm thinking you're kind of convincing me, because it like, you do make sense. Like, he is grabbing his arm, and it could just go anywhere. I'm thinking, like, does that actually deserve an A or a B? I do like the fact that it transitions and you know what it is. It's the 70s. I think you're right. I think I'm going to put it as a B now.
Okay.
Let me change that. you wicked man. Because, like, it's definitely not out with some of the others I've marked probably as A. But you've marked it as a D.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one after that, yeah, The Man with the Golden Gun. And to be honest, I don't even think I put a rating because it's the same as the previous one. So I'm probably just going to say C.
The transition is not good transition, and it's the same intro, I think. I'm reviewing this on an old iPhone, so some of the detail I can't quite see. So if there's minor variations between one and the other, I'm not going to be able to make it out.
No, I don't think there is. I think there might be some sort of colour. The colours are different. Sound might be a little bit different.
I'm not going to see that here.
Yeah, but it's literally, there's nothing different. There's not going to be anything different.
If you're watching it in the cinema, you wouldn't notice the difference.
So I've marked that down as C, and I think we can quickly go through these because I think they're pretty much the same. Quite a few of them for Roger Moore. So I've marked that as C. What about you?
D. I think it's worse. I think it's worse than Live and Let Die because it doesn't even have the good transition, so it can't be any higher. Now, the next one, The Spy Who Loved Me, is different. So this is where he brings his hands together.
Yes.
So they have actually reshot it for this one. And not only that, but also it is actually slightly slower. Not in a bad way, but in a more focused, intentional way. So I do actually like this one more.
Yeah, I've put pause for some reason on there. So maybe that's why it felt
But the
slower.
transition is really bad. So I would mark that as a C.
Yeah, I marked this as actually... same. I marked it as a C. So we're pretty the same on that one. Let me just put that in.
On to Moonraker now.
For some reason, I put it as a B.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I've put it as a B. I think it might be the fact this one's more retro in... I put best Roger. But then I was saying earlier that Live and Let Die was the best, so I don't know what I'm talking about here. But, okay. Moonraker, I've put as a B. I think it's because it has some... No, the next one's got retro. So, no, it's not that one. But, yeah, I think it was just like... If I remember correctly, it was just very plain. Nothing too fancy. It was just him coming in, bang, done. Same as the others, but I think the difference was the music. It was just like, here's the music, this is what you expect, done. So that's why I gave it a B, where it was an improvement over the previous two.
The transition was same clip as Moonraker, and the transition was basically as rubbish. So yeah, I'm sticking with C for that one.
That is Moonraker.
Moonraker has the same intro and rubbish transition as
Spy Who Loved Me.
The Spy Who Loved Me, the one that came, the one before it.
So B and a C. And then the next one, I've put For Your Eyes Only. I've put down retro. They kind of had like a retro dan 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 like at the start of it, and that really put me off. So I put that as a C. Like, that's just like average. Like, they're trying to do something silly. They're trying to the music just doesn't work for me for that one.
I wonder if that comes from whatever the opening scene was, which I don't have the context of here. But yeah, I'm going to stick with a C for pretty much the same reasons as before. It doesn't feel like they're really utilizing the circle as a focus device at the moment. It's just a random transitionary shape as such. Anything else for your eyes only?
No, I would say I enjoyed the actual theme of the film. For your eyes only. But yeah, the actual gun barrel is average. It's just, yeah. The next one after that is, I believe, is Octopussy. And I gave that a C. And I think we can just quickly just put Octopussy and A View to a Kill as the same C. Unless you disagree. They're both very average.
Yeah, I imagine it's just going to be the same.
Nothing's different. Nothing's different. It's just not inspiring at all.
Hang on. Octopussy actually used they did use the circle as a focus device, but I don't know if it's enough.
It's up to you. I just marked it as I was like, man, this is just they haven't. It would be nice at this point him doing a new gun barrel. I know he played.
Honestly, I'm kind of annoyed that they didn't re-record it for every single film. I genuinely think it would have been better if they had planned, choreographed, written in the gun barrel scene to fit the transition between the title and the opening scene. It's not really the opening scene, is it? It's the post-credit opening scene or the post-title opening scene.
Yeah.
But I think... I mean, it obviously it wasn't something that they were really thinking about that much back then, so they didn't put as much importance on it as we are now looking back.
Well, they're probably thinking we need to get. That's probably another day or a week's worth of shooting.
Well, this is the thing. It's I mean, every shoot, even for that 10 seconds of footage, costs a phenomenal amount of money.
Yeah,
but.
So they were cut corners, change just like we said, change the colours, change the music, freshen it up, change the background somehow.
I mean, even when you watch them back to back, you even notice how it's so similar that even the direction that the gun falls down on the page on the screen is the exact same path every single time. Even if that was a bit more randomized, that was different each time. To focus on something else, that might have been even just that would have been enough.
The thing is, back in the 70s and 80s, they didn't have access to the movies like we do now as well. So it's it was coming out every few years.
Well,
and
yes, that's what. So when you were saying earlier about the colouring between one film and another, and I said if people are watching them in a cinema, they're just not going to notice it. I'm barely noticing the difference when I'm watching them one after the other. So
they're not going to be oh, I remember watching this a few years ago and they used the same. People are just going to be oh, that looks new.
Yeah, and let's be honest, the whole point of this gun barrel scene is to garner excitement just before the film's about to start. I mean, it's not going to bring any more people to watch the film because this scene only plays when you're in the cinema. I don't think it would have been in the trailer as such, maybe. They'd have used other shots from the movie. So I guess that, that you're not having to use this particular scene to sell the movie as such to anyone else. Because if you want to watch it, you're already there. But it does, you're bringing in... along with the theme music and everything like that, it's garnering excitement for the film and hyping it up as such, maybe.
Okay, so I've gone with C. You've gone with C, hopefully. And I think A View to a Kill, I've gone with a C. C, yeah.
It kind of did something a little bit interesting where it was following a submarine, but it wasn't properly in frame. So you could only see the underside of the little submarine for the whole thing, not the main body. So it was just actually... No, I'm going to put that one as a D. It's even worse. They tried to do something interesting with it, but pulled it off poorly.
Is that A View to a Kill?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because I remember them being in the ice. It goes into a helicopter, and they're in the ice, aren't they?
Oh, maybe it's a snowmobile or something. But it was following some vehicle, and it was just the bottom of it. Not see, I couldn't make it out properly.
So then,
Timothy Dalton, The Living Daylights, my favourite James Bond.
I have put that as A and an A. I've put that as an A. What about you?
I'm just rewatching it.
Okay.
Because I didn't like it when I first watched it.
Really?
But when I was talking about Sean Connery and the whole one arm, two arm sort of thing.
He kind of copies that in a way.
No, he doesn't at all. No, he doesn't.
Well, he doesn't swing it back. Well, I'm trying to say, like, he's not doing the Roger Moore where he's holding the other arm to stop the gun from. He just like pulls it up, bang. But yeah, his left arm goes back, but not to the same extent as Sean Connery. Yeah, exactly. I really enjoy like this one. So I'm giving it an A because I enjoy him walking into the shot and then bang.
Okay, I'll allow it. I'll go with A as well.
Well, you don't have to.
The thing is, I've talked myself around for the reasons that I've said against people earlier, and I will allow it because Timothy Dalton is my favourite James Bond.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. He
and the Living Daylights is my favourite James Bond film.
Watching all of these, I've got to be honest. He's the only guy where I can say that is James Bond just by looking at him. He completely like in my head, that is James Bond. So it's probably no surprise that the next one for me, License to Kill, I've put it as an S tier because I think that I could watch that for hours and hours and hours. The way it's the same footage as I think it's the same footage as Living Daylights.
Yeah,
but the way they've done it, where they get the music and it's like there's some suspense, and then he comes in. The way he comes in as well, it opens up the circle and he starts walking in and he's walking in and he's got that nice stagger to his walk.
Yeah.
And then bang. And it's that is, and then it leads into a plane in the sky.
Well, I was going to say that's the best transition. I think that's possibly the best transition out of all the ones we've seen so far. What do I think?
Just the fact of the music for me and him, the way they've got him coming into the shot. I don't know how they did it, but they got him into the shot. You kind of like see him at the corner of your eye, and the way he's walking with so much confidence. In this one and the previous one, it's got to be the same footage, but it just fits with the music. And then when he does his shot, he gets his shot of bang, and he's like so yes, I've marked it as S. And like you said, it helps because Timothy Dalton looks like James Bond. He has the physique of James Bond, that roughness.
Yeah, I'm going to reserve my S tier for now, but I may elevate it later.
What would you mark it as then?
So I'm going to put it as an A for now.
Sure. So the next one is GoldenEye, and I've put it as an S. That might surprise you as well. The thing I like about this one is it's the music. It looks clean. Him walking in and him, it just all looks very clean. Like it all just fits in my opinion. Perfect way to start your James Bond career, Pierce Brosnan. I've put it as an S because unfortunately the other Pierce Brosnan films we're just going to fly through because they're literally the same. There's no change in the the video they use for him. It's just the music and some of the effects. So this is the best version, the ultimate version in my opinion.
Yeah, so I got distracted whilst watching them, and I think I missed License to Kill.
Oh, really? You better watch that now then.
When I watched this one... No, hang on. When I watched this one, I thought this was Timothy Dalton's License to Kill. So I wrote down a note. I was like, oh, the music's different, and the gun barrel looks visually quite different. And I was surprised because it's the first time they've changed it so drastically within the same actors' films.
So you thought that was Timothy Dalton's Pierce Brosnan?
And then I noticed the chapter thing said it's Golden. I was like, oh, so I went back and rewatched it all. And I was like, oh, right, fine. Okay, I got it. He actually does the exact same pose as Timothy Dalton. He does pretty much the same thing where he puts his left arm back just a little bit and does the same pose. And even the suits do something similar, the way they fly out and everything. I don't like this one.
Really?
For the reasons you say you like it, I don't like it.
You didn't even like...
I don't like that music.
And I think...
No, I don't think... But it's the same reason that I don't like GoldenEye, is that wasn't Pierce Brosnan's film. that's not his James Bond. He shouldn't have. It's not his character. Like, because Pierce Brosnan he basically played two James Bonds. He played GoldenEye, and he played a different version of James Bond for the other three films.
Yeah, and this is probably the best one.
Now, if all of them were GoldenEye, if all four films were the same theme as GoldenEye, I'd be like, yeah, that's great. This is perfect. This is him. But it's not. This is Timothy Dalton, played by Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, okay.
So the whole film is confused because it was written for a different actor. It's just bizarre because it's also the most popular James Bond film ever, which I don't fully understand. And if you look at the popularity ratings on that video I sent you, it is the most replayed section.
Really? Oh, okay.
And for those same reasons, is that this feels like an 80s James Bond, which is Timothy Dalton, but Pierce Brosnan is a 90s and early 2000s James Bond, because he was 95 to 2002 or something.
Yeah.
So this doesn't feel like Pierce Brosnan. C. I can't give it more than a C for me.
Crazy. So you would mark it as the same as Roger Moore. You would mark it, but in perspective, you would.
Yeah, but for different reasons.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I actually I liked his pose. I do like his pose, and I think in his later films I might give him a higher score.
I'm the opposite. I'm going to give him
we've got differing opinions about It's actually I've got different opinions about the music to you.
Oh, go on then. Let's get to the next one.
I do actually like the pose that he does. So that's where it's.
So Tomorrow Never Dies, I think is the next one. Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah, that's the official song.
I marked it down as C because I just did. It's the same as the previous one, but I just did not like the music. I thought it was just average. Of course, I liked
S tier.
S tier.
This is my S tier one.
Oh mate, what are you doing to yourself? How can that be S?
100%. I'm not doing this to you.
Come on, man.
Like I said before, Pierce Brosnan. He has a very good pose.
That's just
his pose is probably one of my favourites, if not the favourites. That music is iconic James Bond in the way that the GoldenEye isn't. But the music for this, perfect. And then what makes it S tier for me is the transition. It's not gone where I was saying with Roger Moore. All of his went down and to the right. This one's gone down and to the left, and we're focusing on some kind of truck. So it's bringing your focus onto the screen in an area. So I like I like the music, I like the pose, I like the transition. This is my S tier.
Okay. I disagree. I don't like the music, but it's pretty much similar to GoldenEye, but yeah, without the music, and it might be a little bit of difference in color, but it's the same video background. Okay, so the next one after that is The World Is Not Enough, which I marked down. I just marked it down as a C again because it's just generic music. It's just it. I think this one is.
It's not generic.
It might
music.
even be a D for me. It might even be a D because it's just like
this isn't the generic music. This is they've tried to bring some kind of 90s music to the James Bond theme, whereas the previous film it was the classic 1960s James Bond orchestral thing. This had this weird, almost like a drum machine type hi-hat or something in there. Like they've tried to modernize it, but so I'm putting that.
Yeah, I'm putting it as a D as well. So we're in agreement. See, look, we know our stuff.
Good transition.
Yeah,
but also a rubbish transition. It transitioned into Pierce Brosnan running into frame. It was a thought about. The transition was thought about, but focusing on James Bond is pointless because he's the focus of the film.
Okay, the next one is Die Another Day. I watched this in the cinema, and even as a kid...
What the fuck? The music is awful.
Yeah, the theme music is,
The bullet coming towards the screen is awful.
Yeah, I've marked it...
Can we have an F tier?
Yeah, I put down hate, and even as a kid, I was just about to say, I watched it in the cinema, I was like, what the fuck is that? Even as a kid, I was like, yeah, I put down bad. I think I put die, but I realised it's Die Another Day. That's when I wasn't that angry. I just put bad. Very bad.
I didn't even mind the film.
Yeah.
I thought it was a perfect.
For me, the film's okay. Yeah, it's
not the best, but it's not the worst.
Better than some of the Roger Moore films. So yeah, it's definitely... do you want to put it as an F? Maybe it's really bad.
Yeah, we'll do an F if we can.
I think there's another one that might be an F for me as well.
Okay.
Really,
Oh, yeah.
Well, I hope
Wait till we
maybe
get there.
we might be on the same page. Casino Royale. I marked that down as a S.
You do that as an S. Okay. I can see it's a little bit different.
I thought, it's one of those things you could only do once, and at the time it works. It worked for that film as well because, I think a lot of people have said like, literally Daniel Craig has taken the idea that Timothy Dalton had and made a more realistic tone of James Bond to like he was in the books. So Daniel Craig is fighting some guy in the bathroom, and then the guy gets a gun, and then he gets his gun and bang, and then you're like, and then it transitions, and then as a viewer you're like, they did that as the gun barrel. How smart is that? When you first watch it, you're like blown away. It's like, because it felt like at the time like it's been a few years since the Pierce Brosnan film, and it was like, they're redoing it completely.
Now, I forget, was Daniel Craig, were people on board with him being James Bond, or did he
They
have
had a
some
few
criticism,
criticisms because obviously he's not.
And I feel like this is like almost in answer to that.
Yeah.
This is like,
Well,
look,
it's because he was
bitch, I'm
blonde
here.
as well, wasn't it? He was like, you can't have a blonde James Bond.
Can't have a blonde James Bond. You can't have a black the FBI guy, Felter, because that was a real thing as well. Because the guy who plays the FBI guy here is black, but in the book he's like some white guy with straw blonde hair. So I remember that.
Well,
being a massive thing.
what's his face? The film you hate that we're not allowed to discuss, that don't have a gun barrel scene. Never Say Never Again. Yeah, they have
Never Say Never?
a black. They have a black
idea.
Phoenix.
Felix Leiter, that's the one.
Yeah, they have a black Felix. Yeah, I would say the thing is it works so well. Then it is kind of let down with the other films, unfortunately, because this is done so well.
Yeah, so I've been giving my letter. Yeah, hang on. So I'm not going to put it as an S tier, partly because it's actually incredibly short. It's like what, a second, 2 seconds.
It is.
So you don't get to enjoy it or anything. So I'm going to leave it down at A.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, the next one, Quantum of Solace
Is my favourite.
Well, mate, I think we've got different opinions. No, wait, mate.
Basically,
I've marked it down. I've marked it as an F. I've marked it as an F.
Right, so Daniel Craig, he walks on and he looks like a monkey. The way he's not sauntering, there's nothing, he's just walking on screen.
No, man, he's not walking. He's running. He's running into that scene. And talk about a second for Casino Royale. It's not even a second, it's like half a second. The guy just runs in, bang, done. And it's so bad. It's just a joke. And that the whole film, and the problem with this as well, they didn't even do it at the start of the film. They go right to the end of the film and you're like, well, that was shit. And then you see that gun barrel and you're like, that's even worse. Yeah. And you're like,
Really? Oh, I forgot about. I forget that. Thing is, Jen was watching some of these with me, and even she said that one was pretty bad.
but you think it's S? What'd you say? Your favourite?
No, I said it's my favourite.
Oh,
because of how bad it is.
oh, okay.
No, that's
I was
down
gonna
in
say,
D,
like,
mate.
you
Down
must
in
be-
D.
You think that's an S? I don't know what they were thinking. They did so well, and then
I think it's because of these writer strikes. The people that ended up making the film, I think they were just having to rush to do so much stuff, and this is all they did. They couldn't reuse the one from the previous film, like you said. Maybe they forgot they needed to film one. Like, that might be what happened, is they had to call him in. They didn't have... That suit doesn't even look like it fits him properly. Like, Daniel, get in. Just put any old tuxedo on.
Come on, man. He was told what to do, and they told him.
It's really bad, that
He
one.
looked like he was running. Just run and boom. It was terrible.
Daniel Craig had a lot of input into Quantum of Solace because of the writer strike. He had a lot of creative stuff, didn't he? So I'll put the blame on him.
And yeah, in this instance, like, you can tell. Maybe the thing in my head is he just doesn't look like James Bond as well in this particular scene. So maybe they were like, maybe they were just thinking, or if he runs, maybe you can't see him so well,
The posture, it's all wrong.
and then it's over, and then you were like, oh yeah, he doesn't look like James Bond. He looks like a madman. He looks like a big white, fat, ugly white man running into the scene. Boom! What was that? Terrible.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the blood either. I don't like that. It's CGI, real blood falling down on the screen.
I've marked it as F, but you've marked it as D.
I don't want to put anything in the F other than what we've already put in there. I want to leave that down there on its own for shame.
Well, no, I'm sorry, but Quantum of Solace deserves the F for me. The shame as well. It's probably worse. I think that's worse than Die Another Day, unfortunately.
Okay, fine, fair enough.
At least Die Another Day, you got him walking in. Yes, he had that stupid bullet, and it looks like it's so gimmicky. But yeah, it just felt like it was some sort of tramp or something running in, shooting a guy. It just looks so stupid. It's just it looks so I just no. But Skyfall, I marked as a C, as it's an improvement. He kind of looks like an old man walking in still though. He's slowed down. But it's still...
Well, that's what Jen said. She was like, oh, he's taking his time now.
Yeah, he's slowed down because they told him you need to slow down now. But it's still... It just doesn't feel right. And the thing is, he's got a white suit on.
His pose is very good.
He's got another grey white suit. Why is he not wearing a black suit?
His final pose is very good.
So that criticism I just said there, they've corrected in the
No, I think
but they corrected that.
So I don't think he's wearing a black suit.
Skyfall.
I think that's just I think that's just the lighting. It's like harsh white lights reflecting on
the next one, they fixed that.
Genuinely, I think that's what it is. But
that visual thing for me. So I've marked it as a C.
Yeah.
What about you?
C. It's nothing special. It's not bad. It's not good. Nothing special.
Okay. Spectre. I marked it as a B because it looks like he's actually lost a bit of weight. He's got a black suit on.
And this is the other thing with Daniel Craig is they leave him in silhouette a lot more than some of the previous James Bonds. So his final pose is in more of a silhouette than before. So yeah, like you're saying, it's definitely fixing the end of the previous one. Much better lit, probably CGI at this point.
Yeah.
I still don't like the blood coming down the screen on his. It's too fast, too runny.
So what would you say? I say it's an improvement over like Roger Moore's, so that's why I would say it's a B, and it's an improvement over the previous two, where he's actually got a black suit on. He looks like he's actually lost a bit of weight. He still doesn't.
There was a bit of time between those two films, wasn't there?
Yeah,
so.
He still doesn't look like James Bond, but.
What do you mean he doesn't look like James Bond?
He just doesn't look like James Bond. In this one, he's dressed like James Bond, but he doesn't have the physique. He has looked like he's lost weight, but he still doesn't look like James Bond to me. Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and even the Aussie looks like bloody James Bond over Daniel Craig.
Yeah, he does. He does. Definitely does.
That's why I'm hoping for the next one. They'll go with someone with the look. It'll be a woman.
Thing is, I know we're not talking about the books, but Daniel Craig is book accurate in terms of character. Not by looks.
Yeah.
So I do like Daniel Craig in that sense.
But we're critiquing his gun role and how he looks and presents himself.
I know.
His walk is better than this. His walk is definitely better.
Yeah, but is it enough to go up to a B? I'm not sure.
Like he's not walking like an old man. He's not walking like he's a bit quicker. No, he's a bit like.
But if I think this is only a C, does that mean I should bump down some of my previous ones down to a D?
Well, it's up to you. Like you don't have. You do what you want, mate.
I think this is a C, and I think I'm going to put the previous one down to a D.
Okay, Skyfall is a D, and this is a C, and I marked it as a B because it's an improvement over Skyfall. I
do agree with you, it's an improvement. I just don't think it's as good as some of the other Bs that we put.
Yeah,
that's the problem, isn't it? When you've only got five places it can be.
Yeah,
the gap between.
I think I just put it in there because I thought it's better than average. Because he's got the walk down now. He's got a black suit on, and it's probably the same for the next one, the last one. No, actually, I put C for some reason. No Time to Die. I've put bad. Oh, did I put C? I think I crossed something out. I think I crossed out a B and I put C.
I didn't like the transition. I didn't like the transition for this one.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah, it was.
And
a bit...
I've just noticed. I think I've only just noticed that Daniel Craig, he doesn't have the whole gun trailing down the screen and then opening up. It stays in the center. But this one, it goes into the snowy scene, and the snow is reflecting into the gun barrel. I don't like this one.
I think I like.
I don't dislike it. I'm happy to leave it as a C, but I don't like it.
I kind of gave this one a pass as a C because I watched it in the cinema and I watched it with Mavi, and I told her we was going to watch Dune Part 1, and then we went in, and then it was dun she's like, what the hell, I thought we were watching Dune. I was like, no, change the plans, we're going to watch James Bond. I kind of surprised her, but yes. So that is our list. Is there any changes you'd like to make before we finalise the list? Anything you look like?
I've only written half of mine down, so I can't even remember what I put.
I've
half
got
of
most
in,
of them, hopefully. But yeah, I think looking at the list, like Timothy Dalton, he's only done 2 films.
What did I put as S tier? What did I?
So you put Tomorrow Never Dies as an S, and that was it, pretty much. Tomorrow Never Dies.
Do I want more than one S?
You don't have to. Like,
I like the idea of having one S and one F.
I'm sorry, man. I think Die Another Day and Quantum of Solace is an F. That's terrible.
I just like the idea of having one thing as the greatest and one thing as the absolute worst, and you can somewhere in between. So I'm quite happy to leave one at the top and one at the bottom.
You can say it's an F, but then you can have like one is better than the other in terms of an F. So you could say, for me, Quantum of Solace is at the bottom. Okay, then
you can have a G soon.
No. Quantum of Solace is at the bottom. It's an F. Die Another Day is above that, but it's still an F. It doesn't qualify as a D. And you could rank the other Ds as well. You could say, okay, we both gave Well Done Not Enough. That's quite low. Skyfall, quite low as well. You know. Oh, you gave, I gave Skyfall a C. But yeah, I've given a few A's. You Only Live Twice, The Living Daylights, and I think Live and Let Die. I've changed it to a B. I made it as a B. But there's a lot of C's. There's a lot of C's because some of them are average. Roger Moore is probably the worst one in the whole thing, though, in terms of just being quite average, because they were pretty much the same each year, like every few years.
Well, the thing is, they weren't offensive. They were just a bit meh.
Yeah, and like I said, there was that one film which I Live and Let Die B, because I was like, you know what it is. It's a 70s, James Bond film. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Casino Royale A. I don't think there's too many shocks. Like, the only shock I'm shocked about is Tomorrow Never Dies. You gave it as an S, and I gave that as a C. I was like, yeah, that's.
I know.
And you didn't like GoldenEye.
I like that music.
Yeah. So I enjoy GoldenEye because the start of that is like that music at the start, and then I think when he shoots his gun, I
agree with some of your points. I just think that's the wrong actor.
No,
that's where it comes down to for me.
Yeah, I can understand why, because I think there was like some sort of contract dispute at the time, wasn't there? And that's the reason why Timothy Dalton couldn't play the film. He was contracted to do 3 films, but
GoldenEye wasn't actually written for Timothy Dalton. The third film was half written for Timothy Dalton, and then it was changed and adapted into GoldenEye. So I know it's not exactly, but the GoldenEye feels so different to the rest of Pierce Brosnan's films that it's just it could have been different James Bonds in the same way as going from Timothy Dalton to Roger Moore or Daniel Craig, and then Pierce Brosnan just happened to play 2 versions of James Bond. And on the whole, I really like Pierce Brosnan's James Bond. I think he's a really good portrayal, and I really like Die Another Day for his portrayal of James Bond, if not the whole storyline itself. So it's just unfortunate that GoldenEye wasn't they could have just changed 2 or 3 elements, like change the music, make the music less 80s-esque, make it less metallic. I don't know. I mean, the development of the film would have been too early, I suppose, because they'd been doing it in like 92, 93 or something. It's not cohesive with the rest of Pierce Brosnan's films. So, and I do think the gun barrel scene is pretty much following the same trend. I mean, why wouldn't it? And it just doesn't feel quite like Pierce Brosnan's scene.
One thing I just want to mention very quickly before we finish, something that really bothered me about Daniel Craig's films, where we did mention it. I think two out of his 5 or 4, 1, 2, 3, no 5. The gun barrel scene were at the end of the film, and that really, really annoyed me. Like, I don't know what it was. Maybe they just think do it at the end. Like, but for me, it should always be at the start. And like, No Time to Die, they did it at the start, which was correct. But
they had to.
Spectre and Scott.
There's a very obvious reason why it's at the start of the film.
Spoilers.
Sorry, spoilers for No Time to Die if you've not seen this film.
Yeah, like that really peed me off. Like I remember that. Like I think I was Skyfall, and they did the same. It was like at the end, and I was like, that was a good film, but why did they do the gun barrel at the end? That really
almost would have been better to have not included this at all.
Especially with Quantum of Solace. Oh my god, that was just terrible. I find that it's like a comedic. What were they doing?
Drama schools, high school kids could have done better than that.
It's so funny that your wife said that was really bad as well. She's like, everyone can see that's just terrible. How could they not see that and go?
I would like to point out that my wife is an award-winning actress, so I should hope that she can work out the difference between a good performance and a bad one.
Even we can see that. Like, surely they can see that and say, you know,
why didn't they redo it? Who was directing that shot? Like, why? Like, were they not there on site? Like, why didn't they do better? Why couldn't they do better? Some of the previous ones, like you don't like or I don't like, for choices that someone's made, and the choices, you know, I like one, you dislike. You know, like we've had gun barrel scenes where I've really liked it and you've really disliked it, and they're personal choices. This one, Quantum of Solace, is just not good. No part of it is good. I mean, maybe the music was good, but I mean, whatever. But the shooting, the acting, the choreography, none of it was good. It was just bad all over. And then they stuck it at the back of the film, probably because everyone's leaving the cinema at that point. So what was the point in putting any time and money into it?
Yeah, I just remember watching that in the cinema, and I was like I said, the film was terrible, and that was terrible. But yeah, I think that pretty much concludes this episode. I hope you enjoyed our rankings of the gun barrel, and I think I don't think we're ever. Maybe, who knows? Maybe in the future we might rank the actual themes, the opening themes of the films. But who knows?
Oh, that's going to take a minute.
Really?
That's going to take a minute.
Oh, really? It's going to take a minute.
Oh, sorry. So, I mean, no, that's a turn of phrase. What I mean is that's going to take ages, because if I'm going to have to sit and watch 22 5-minute videos.
That's true, yeah.
that's going to take like 2 hours preparation. And if I'm honest, you've gone way harder on these gun barrel scenes than I expected you to. I did not think you'd be thinking about the music in these.
It all plays into it. It all plays into it. Like, what are the differences between each one?
Were that? Yeah, I didn't think that you paid that much attention to it. So I did sit down. If I thought you'd be this into it, I might have watched that video a couple of times and paid a little bit more attention. I feel like I've actually come underprepared despite preparing for this recording.
But, well, I think you've done a good job, you know.
You had notes.
Yeah, I just wrote them down.
I had some notes, but you had notes. You never bring notes to a podcast recording.
The thing is, man, I realised that there was going to be so many, and there's no way you can do it off memory. So I had to write it down.
Well, that's why I sat here watching them half. And I still think that might have been a good idea to have actually just watched it and then spoken about it, and watched it and then spoken about it. And maybe we'll do that for the theme tune. I don't know. Listen to it together on the podcast and then talk about it.
Are we allowed to do that? Copyright though, isn't it?
Oh no, I cut it out the recording, but
Who knows? Yeah, probably. If my kids go to sleep. My God, it's nearly 11:30.
Thank you for listening to Screen Bytes. Subscribe on YouTube or follow us in your favourite podcasting app.
Absolutely. Big kipper.
You only live twice.